What's good, Vlog Squad? Today we're going to be talking about the assault on Moncada Barracks. What is the Moncada Barracks assault? Well, on July 26, 1953, Fidel Castro and around 140 other men decided that today was the day they would attack the Moncada Barracks. But why? Well, in the years prior, from 1940 to 1944, a certain leader under the name of Fulgencio Batista ran for president of Cuba and won. He was a decent leader who mainly ruled with a militaristic mindset. Things would change when he ran again in 1952, when he lost the election, but with the work of high-up government officials, he got the rightful leader, President Carlos Prio, removed from power. Then he appointed himself as the ultimate ruler of Cuba and led with a capitalistic mindset. He allowed large American corporations to come into their country and control the Cuban economy. Along with his political wrongdoings, he was responsible for the murder of 20,000 Cubans. Like many other Cubans, Castro knew this man was corrupt and had to go, so he chose to do something about it. Castro decided to join an organization known as the Partido Ortodox. This group was sick of the corrupt rule of Fulgencio Batista. They decided to attempt a raid on a military post to spark a fire in the people's eyes. Well, how did the attack go? And now, a quick word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is an action RPG mobile game that can be played anywhere and anytime. Nah, I'm just kidding. Let's get back to the video. The attack was actually a horrendous failure, or so you would think. Once the attack had begun, 8 of the infiltrators were shot immediately. By the end of the battle, 70 had been taken prisoner, including Castro's brother. All of the prisoners were publicly tortured and even murdered. They were put up as an example of others of why they shouldn't attempt a coup against Batista. So how was it a success? 2 years after the attack, in 1955, the mothers of some prisoners launched a campaign to free Castro and the other rebels imprisoned with him. Once news of this reached the public and support behind these rebels began, a group of political leaders, editors, and intellectuals signed a public appeal demanding liberty for the prisoners. That year, the Cuban Congress passed a bill granting general amnesty to political prisoners. After the bill was signed by Batista, the 30 imprisoned rebels were freed. They served 22 months in prison, but in the end, it was entirely worth it when it meant the beginning of the end for Mr. Fulgencio Batista and his corrupt rule of Cuba. All of this would lead to Castro getting the support of the people and ultimately set in the steps for Castro to rise to power and take control of Cuba. While many of his allies were killed or tortured, he would still go on to gain the support of an entire nation. This would lead to hundreds of thousands of Cuban citizens joining in Castro's support to fight against the Cuban government and eventually overthrow Fulgencio Batista. In the end, all that was left was for Castro to work his political magic and to be chosen to become the future president of Cuba for many years to come. Alright guys, that's all for the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell to get post notifications. And stay litty, Vlog Squad.